All right. So peace, peace. So why don't you tell the people who you are and what you do?
Who am I? I am Tony Gales Jr. I am a native of Jacksonville, Florida. Moved all around the South as a kid. I'm a teacher. I'm a farmer now. Yeah, working at those intersections, working with food, working with communities, trying to connect them dots because we're a long way from it. We got to get back to it. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So there's a couple reasons. The first reason is because I like to eat. So because I like to eat, and I'm like an origins person,
Mhm.
I always want to know. I always want to know where people come from, where how words are made, where does the my pots and pans come from. Like I want to know where stuff come from. Where does a mineral or so I always like to trace stuff back. And so when I'm eating something, I'm like, okay, where did this come from? And just the like the trend of wanting to know about food and ingredients and how it's processed and all those things just kind of led me down a rabbit hole. And I was like, well, if I want to know where my food comes from, really, let me just grow it. Or let me find out. Let me know the person who grows my food. So trying to get into community gardens and growing in that way. So that's kind of one answer is that food and eating, but also working with kids in school gardens. So that was kind of really how I started to grow food and not just be interested in a farm or a farmer and like the source, but also wanting to actually get my hands in dirt was when I got to do that with kids. I was working in New York City. Of course, New York City is way too little green space, way too few garden spaces, way too few trees. And there was like an abandoned school garden on at the school I was working at. I talked to the principal, was like, "Hey, y'all can't let this just go like this. It just can't be. I can't waste that." So she was like, "Well, do something with it. You getting the kids, get out there, do it." So we went out, cleaned it up, planted stuff, and I just saw how they interacted with it, how they were engaged, how it was therapy for them, especially some of the students who aren't as successful doing other things in the classroom. They were really able to show off in the garden. Um, and so one thing led to another, and I was like, well, I want to grow in bigger and bigger spaces. I want to do more of this. I want to, have my own, growing space. I was doing community gardens. I was doing raising chickens at a community garden, and I got the opportunity to do it big. So my boys said they were going to build, they wanted to do a little retreat out in Georgia. I wanted to be closer to home. I wanted to manage more land and get my feet wet. I'm doing a little bit more than getting my feet wet, so I kind of dived head first, and I probably shouldn't have, but we learning, so we figuring it out. But yeah, that's how I came to it. Food and wanting to cook and eat, that's my thing, but also working with kids.
Okay. So what's the hardest part about what you do?
Hardest part about farming, teaching farming, both of them, patience, and like not like the patience and persistence, or not patience and routine, because you have to be like you have to be willing to work at something. Like I'm gonna go in and we're gonna work on phonics. We're gonna work on letter K. We're gonna go in and we're gonna plant kale. We're gonna take this grass out. The first day it still look rough. The second day it still look rough. The third day it still look rough. The week after it still look rough. You got to keep kind of coming back, knowing that in a month or 2 months, this thing is gonna be, I'm gonna start to see some progress.
So you got any advice for the people out there who want to do what you do?
If you want to be again, for both education and agriculture, I would 150% recommend that you um, start small, like like that's the principle. Start small as possible. Start where you are. Start with the students and plants around you, and then find mentors. Find an apprentice program. Find a student teaching find that the building of that relationship with the farmer, with somebody who's an elder who can show you the ropes. Get a job doing it, at a small farm, at a community garden, and do that for a long time. That was my mistake. I did community garden. I was school gardening and stuff like that for quite some time, 4 or 5 years. But I didn't have much experience, only months of experience on an actual farm. So that wasn't enough time spent on a farm to know all of what I needed to know to manage it myself. So now, I'm just having to make mistakes and learn, and then find people who are around me. Like, hey, I don't know how to deal with this grass. I don't know how to deal with this pest. I don't know how to deal with this. The weather is like this. What do I do? Now I'm having to. Now I can do that work. But if you start from your foundation, start with practice and mentorship, again, apprenticeship. You don't take on more than you can chew. I think that was the biggest thing for me. Try not to take on more than you can chew, because that is how you get in trouble. That's how I think a lot of farmers get burnt out. That's how a lot of farmers they lose motivation, and I can see it, because again, that's been a thing here for me. And so learning how much capacity you have and knowing what you as an individual can do with an acre or half an acre or whatever it is, I think that's the key. And you only learn that by doing, I think. I don't think you can really learn this type of work. I mean, I know you can't. You can't learn in a classroom. And so you have to get out there and do it. And it's best to be around people who already made the mistakes, so you don't waste the time and bump your head against the wall so much that you're like, all right, I give up on this. I'm not gonna do this, because it is vitally necessary. We absolutely need more brothers and sisters doing this work. It's crucial. There's not enough I can say about it. How important food sovereignty is for Black and brown folks, for marginalized communities of any kind, anywhere. And so we desperately need people to do this work, but we also need those people to be informed and skilled, and that comes with getting experience. Best way to reach me is on Instagram. For the public, I guess the best way to reach me is on Instagram at littlefootfarm.ga. You can also email me, of course, littlefootfarm.ga@gmail.com. Holla, ask questions, leave feedback, comments, any of that. I'm actually starting a Littlefoot Farm Lab, so we're doing more purposeful and intentional education programs. So we'll have our website up soon. Hopefully we'll be able to get littlefootfarm.ga. We'll see, but that's the goal. So eventually, maybe I'll be able to plug that in there too, that we have our website very soon. But yeah, littlefootfarm.ga on Instagram and at gmail.com.